Hello folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a full flight video. Today in fact we are going to have 2 flights in only one video. It is a sort of a new format which I would like to try out, and the aim really is to have a bit more action in these videos. So this means today we will have 2 departures, 2 landing and even 3 airports which we are seeing. And I am trying to keep the total time of the video still below 1 hour, so I'm not sure if that will work out yet, but we will see. And yeah, so we should be in for a pretty cool day of flying today in the FSLabs A319 in the Star Alliance livery. And what we will do is we will have a very short flight from Hamburg to Frankfurt, and that's early morning time. So now it's like, I believe 6:30 a.m. Here in Hamburg. And scheduled departure time is 7 a.m. Then it will be only short flight, I think not even 1 hour of flight time down to Frankfurt, where we will get at 8 a.m. and 8 a.m. being roughly the time of sunrise this time of the year. So I'm not sure if we will have a sunrise during this flight, but we will see that as well. And then we will have a bit of a break until midday down in Frankfurt, and then we will continue down to Lisbon. And that will then of course be a daylight flight. So I think it's a pretty cool mixture of routes we have today. And yeah, that being said, of course, since I'm doing 2 flights in one video, there will be less time of all the cockpit preparation stuff and things like that. So yeah, that's it for now. I will meet you inside the cockpit after I have set up most for our flight, and then we will take it to the departure out of Hamburg pretty soon. So here we are, guys. Boarding is completed. I have done all the pre-flight setup stuff. Next thing for us is to disconnect the jetway. I did have to restart GSX in between since it got stuck, but now it should be working again. And yeah, this is disconnected. Let's see, parking brake is on, and thus we can already ask for pushback as well. Okay, it's waiting till the jetways are away. That's fine. No, I think we don't need de-icing. It is pretty cold, only 1 degree Celsius, but it's dry, so I don't think we would need any de-ice in these circumstances. We can lock the door, and other than that, APU is running. External power should be disconnected soon. Seat belts should come on, and then beacons as well. Yeah, we will be going out of runway 23 today, which will be a pretty short taxi. And we will even have a little bit of a tailwind component during takeoff. I'm not sure why they're not using any other runway, but the aircraft in real life did go out of runway 23. That's why we are doing it as well. And you can see our speeds here. So it will be flap 1 takeoff. Select temperature 68, so quite a lot of derate, and yeah, we are quite light as well, so only carrying 95 packs, which I think is realistic these days. And yeah, so it should be a pretty easy takeoff run. And then of course on the second flight down to Lisbon we will likely be a bit heavier than that. Alright, so did they already give me the okay to release the parking brake? No, I've kind of missed it. But I think so, otherwise they would be saying something. Or maybe not. Okay, there we go. It was actually totally my bad since we still had the door open. So that's not too good. But now it's working. Like that, hopefully. Okay. Now I think I've confused GSX a bit, but it's okay, we should be fine. Okay, and also I think we are good to start the engines. Probably GSX would like it as well, but let's go for it. Beacons are on, fuel pumps are on. So starting number 2, and you can hear in the background we have the Lufthansa PA announcements, which is quite cool. Right, the departure out of 2-3 will be the MLU-1 Bravo departure. Pretty straightforward really. We have a few miles to climb runway heading, and then we will do a left-hand turn and head towards MLU. For the first two waypoints we are limited to 210 knots, which should not be a problem today. And yes, and then for the departure, or after departure rather, we will have the city on our left hand side, so maybe we can have a nice view down on Hamburg. It's quite empty. I haven't really changed anything in the AI settings, but it seems to be pretty empty here this morning. Okay, engine number 2 is fired up. Let's fire up number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to acquaint you with our safety procedures.
My parking brake. As always, we can do it, save a bit of time. The engines appear to be very dark. The textures are there, it's just due to the night time, it appears to be very dark, which is kind of weird. Okay, also I haven't started the block time, and that's also not too good, but not a big issue. Okay, engine number 1 seems to be fed up. That's perfect, so we can put the APU bleed off, APU goes off.
Tow truck disconnected, light has been removed. Unter jedem Sitz ist eine Schwimmweste. Auf Anweisung der Crew ziehen Sie die Weste über den Kopf.
Alright, looking good. So this goes to max. Arm the speed brakes. Flaps go to position 1. This goes back to norm. Let's have this flight control check. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Full up. Full down. Neutral and the rudder. Full left. And full right, neutral, that's done. Trim should be down 0.3. That was a bit far. There we are, down 0.3, that's done. And right, looking good. GSX is gone. So I will put the taxi lights and the turn-off lights on. And also I still have the dome lights on. Let's get those off and instead use a bit of floodlight. Like that. Alrighty, so off we go. Can't even see the parking brake, it's so dark. There it is, okay. Let's see, do we taxi on our own? Yes, we do. Slowly but steadily. With these engines, there's not too much of like this idle taxi effect. Let's turn this off for a second here. But still, they get us rolling, especially as we are super light. Oh, okay, and there's some traffic coming in. Hey there. EasyJet A320, I think. Also, I'm just remembering to put this one down. Okay, let's see where he's going. I hope he's not going to run into us. Alright, looking good. He's taking this parking position. Cool. Okay, TO config. We can test this. Since it's going to be a very short taxi, I'm going to tell the cabin crew to hurry a bit. Yeah, we will not go exactly full length on the runway, but very close to full length, and I have considered the intersection into my takeoff calculations, so that should be totally fine. And what I'm looking for now is entrance Alpha 3 on the runway. And it should be, at least according to the charts, it should be the one straight ahead. If we simply follow this taxi line here, then we should be good. Okay, predictive wind shear, weather. Also weather on my side, that's good. Terrain here at Hamburg, super boring. Okay, and that's Alpha 3, perfect. And it looks like there's some aircraft coming in on, what is that actually? Runway 15, I think. Let's turn the transponder on. TARA like this. Yeah, there's something coming in. If we can manage, I would like to get out in front of this guy. Okay, this all goes to on. Strobes come on. Looking good. Yeah, since he will probably take quite a while to vacate the runway, that's why I kind of want to depart before him, but we should be fine if we do a rolling start, which we can do. And so, ready when you are, guys. First flight of the day, and let's hope it's gonna be a good one. Steering's of course very hard as always. Okay, power to around 50%. Rudder steering. And man, flex, SRS and runway. Flex temperature of 68. And yeah, we are speeding up quite well. There seems to be some bugs here on the runway. Not the best scenery. V1 rotates. It was a pretty short takeoff run. And we are airborne. Cool, gears coming up. Yeah, the JustSim scenery of Hamburg is not exactly the best scenery out there, but it's alright. Alright, cool. Yeah, so we are speeding up quite a bit. Climb power, and then we can already retract the flaps to position 0. Cool. Alright, autopilot. And down there, I think that would be the Airbus factory. It's sort of in this direction, so I believe that's it. And yeah, cool. Seems like we are heading into some sort of clouds, or at least some haze. City down to the left. We are speeding a tiny bit. Okay, now power is coming back. Initial clearance was 5,000, so I believe we can dial it up. Keep it climbing. Let's see what cruise is. 380. Like that. Okay, this goes off, and what else? Taxi lights and turn-offs go off. And now we are heading into this left-hand turn. And there seems to be some crazy moon reflections here on the wing. Yeah, and only we can only see a little bit of the city down there. Very low visibility, in fact. Alright, already passing 8,000 feet, so pretty nice climb right here. Alrighty guys, so that was the departure out of Hamburg. Next up will be the landing into Frankfurt before we keep heading on to Lisbon. And so, enjoy! Hello folks, so here we are back in the flight deck. We have just passed Frankfurt Airport, coming from the from the east, northeast, and now we are, we have flying by, and then now I'm pretty much waiting to be ready to swing around in a left-hand turn onto waypoint Ropsa, which will be our initial approach fix. But as you can see, there's quite a bit of traffic around now, and I kind of want to give them some space up ahead before we do this final turn, and then hopefully we will not be running into any AI traffic. But yeah, that's why we are just continuing a little bit further. I think what I can set up is that after DF 444 we go direct to the initial approach fix, and if by this time there's still some traffic in front of us, then maybe we need to clear it out. We will see. Okay, how to do this in the Airbus? No, not like this. Maybe I have to go there and then set it direct to Ropsa once we get to this waypoint. Maybe that's the easier way to do it. Okay, let's go back to managed. I've set it to manual early on to get down to the 4,000 feet, but now I think we shouldn't overdo it. After all, there's a little bit of terrain around here, although it's quite low at 2,600, so we are fine. So pretty smooth flight, pretty short flight. Also, I remember, or I forgot, that I put on the chrono during takeoff, but I started it right after I stopped recording the takeoff, so it's at least not too far off, maybe like 2 minutes or so. Other than pretty standard. I was hoping for a little bit of a sunrise, but now we are even heading into some clouds, so I don't think we will see it, although just during descent we could see the first little bit of blue glimpse on the horizon. So sun is coming up. I think it will just be after our flight that we can really see it. So here we are now, steady at 4,000 feet. We have just passed the deceleration point. That's why the aircraft is now slowing down. A bit earlier we could already see the lights of the airport, but now it's covered behind a cloud. But we should be able to see it soon. Yes, I think we can pretty soon go on the localizer and capture it. And then also the glide slope shouldn't be too far off. We are on, I'm not sure if I mentioned, but we are going to land runway 07 right today, ILS approach, pretty standard. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 07 left is once again closed due to aircraft storage. So yeah, technically there shouldn't be any aircrafts landing on 07 left, but of course in AI traffic world they do. There's one aircraft ahead of us, now a bit more than 10 miles ahead, so I'm quite confident that he will be gone once we get there. So that's that. We are now 12 miles out. I think I can now start to set flap 1 just before we hit the glide slope. That's quite nice. It's a little bit bumpy, and we can rather hear it instead of see it. It's probably due to the clouds we are heading through. Alright, decision altitude 5028, that's set. We're gonna do a flap 3 landing today. Where is it? Yeah, config 3, since config full would be, speeds would be super low. And yeah, it's a long runway of course in Frankfurt. Nevertheless, auto brake is set medium since we are only using idle reverse down at Frankfurt. And yeah, pretty cool. So for those of you not knowing the area pretty well, this is the city of Wiesbaden, and then on the other side of the Rhine River, that's Mainz over here. And Frankfurt downtown is back there, and yeah, that's the airport slowly loading in. Takes some time. Alright, we are 8 miles out, flap 2. And then speed should drop even further. We can already arm these speed brakes. And then I hope, at least for the departure, usually they don't depart out of 07 right, instead they use 07 center. In that sense, I hope there will at least not be any departing traffic on the runway when we get there. Landing lights on. Let's put the turn-offs and the taxi lights on as well, as we will drop the gear very soon. And yes, now we are below the cloud level, which is a bit of a pity, since I believe up there we would be able to see a little bit of a sunrise, but never mind. Alright, 6 miles out. Let's drop the gear and go flaps 3. Once the gear is down, we should see all green on the landing memo. Flaps full, they should be. I did select config green. Ah, right. Okay, quite interestingly, it doesn't show here for whatever reasons, although I have selected it. Quite interesting. Never mind. Okay, we are all set. I will take the aircraft. Alright, now let's hope for a good one. Yeah, right, also I should have mentioned, we have received a gate earlier, which was gate Alpha 18 if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if I'm going to take this one or some other Alpha gate. Doesn't really matter, but the real world flight was at Alpha 34, which is in fact quite close to Alpha 18, so we can take whichever is free. And it should do fine. Okay, pretty stable approach now. There's some wind, 6 knots of wind straight on the nose, which also makes it quite stable. I am a bit below the glide slope. I think, yeah, up there we can see the sun is slowly coming up. It's getting a bit lighter up there. Yeah, so aircraft departing 07 center, which is quite nice, and also there's no traffic on the runway.
100 above.
So
too low flaps. Too low flaps. Too low
come on.
flaps. Too low flaps. Too low.
That's a bit annoying now.
Too low flaps.
I thought setting flaps 3 in the landing config would do the job, but apparently there's something missing.
Too low flaps. Too low flaps. Too low
40,
flaps. Too low
30,
flaps.
20, retard,
Retard.
10, 5,
And there we are, idle reverse. And 60 knots, idle forward, manual braking. Cool. So apart from the annoying warning, which was quite incorrect in my opinion, it was a good landing. Let's see, we can take this exit, which should be Mike 15, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, FPS are not perfect, probably due to nighttime, a lot of dynamic lighting. Alrighty, welcome down. Flight time 54 minutes. We have to add a few minutes on top of this since I forgot to start the timer during takeoff. Flaps come up. This goes back down. I think we can taxi straight ahead, so I have a few moments to set up everything. This can stay as it is. Strobes come off. And logo lights come on. APU can wait another second, I think. Cool. Those guys go off. Looking pretty good. So it looks like a 747. Beautiful. Okay, we're taking a right-hand turn here. And then I think we can take the next left-hand turn. Alright guys, but as we are trying to keep the video short due to the other flight coming up, I will meet you down at the gate. So we are almost here at the gate, and now look at this guys, we've landed just a few minutes too early. Now it's a beautiful sunrise here. And beautiful AI traffic as well. Look at there. We're going to be parked right next to the A340 in the Star Alliance colors. That's pretty cool. And yeah, we will take gate Alpha 18 just as we have received via the company messages, since Alpha 34 was anyway occupied. We can also take this one, 748, A330. Beautiful lineup of AI traffic here today. Okay, now let's turn those lights off and APU bleed can come on. Oops. Should be on really, never mind. Okay, and there's even a marshaller. Let's see if that works out. And also a docking system, which in my experience is always a bit better than the marshaller. So let's see. 13 meters, okay. Almost spot on. That's quite nice. Okay, parking brake. And then we can kill engine number 1 and engine number 2. Cool, there we are. Seatbelts come off. Now APU delete. Oh, I was hitting the wrong button before, I think. Never mind. Beacons come off. All the lights are as they should be. That's perfect. Deboarding, let's hope the jetway works. Seems like it does. Perfect. We have hot brakes, is that right? Wow, okay, what happened there? That's a bit weird. That's seriously weird why the brakes are so hot. Let's see, external controls, and then set the ground shocks. And now if we turn off the the parking brake, then temperatures should come down now with the brake fan on. Alrighty. External power is available, so we can kill the APU as well. So here we are, guys. Welcome to Frankfurt. Not sure what's causing this. If that's supposed to be some ice on the engine, then I probably should have used anti-ice during the approach, but let's hope it's not. Alright, never mind, but beautiful sunrise. Now look at the contrails over there, beautiful stuff. And as already mentioned, we now have a bit of time. Next flight I think it will be at 1 p.m. local time, and then on to Lisbon in the same aircraft from the same spot where we are leaving it now. And yeah, hope to see you back for the second leg. So hello folks, welcome back. Here we are now heading out on leg number 2 of our flights today. We've just left the gate Alpha 18, was it 18? No, I don't think it was. Whatever, some Alpha gate. And yes, now we are taxiing out to runway 18, which will lead us straight to the south. And then we will be on the Sopra 1 Lima departure, meaning we will climb south a little bit. We can probably see it quite nicely here. Yeah, heading south and then do a right-hand turn and then head east towards Lisbon, and yeah, flight time today is calculated at 2 hours and 40 minutes, and so it's quite a bit longer than the flight we had over from Hamburg. Also, we are much heavier. In fact, we are pretty much at max zero fuel weight and almost 10 tons of fuel on board. And yeah, in fact, we are still quite a bit shy of max takeoff weight. But let's see, so zero fuel weight 57.7 and takeoff weight 67.1. 123, 125 packs on board, and also a little bit of cargo in there. Yeah, so quite a nice setup. Weather is looking okay. Just a few clouds around, nothing crazy. And yeah, I have noticed that indeed the engine textures are super weird. They only look nice in the sun. Whenever they are in the shadow, they appear completely black. I am now just trying out anti-ice on the engines to see if that makes a difference after all. Let me quickly see. He's texting out this one. Now we can also take this this one here. That's fine. Yeah, so now it's in the shadow and it's completely black. It's a bit weird. Probably some bug in the textures in the livery itself, but never mind. I thought we can live with it for now. Yes, and regarding the timing, now you can see here it's 12:19 Zulu, 12:20, which is 1:20 p.m. local time, meaning we have spent quite a few hours on the ground, and now we will have a nice daylight flight to Lisbon, and I believe, or I'm quite sure that it will also be a daytime landing down at Lisbon. Yeah, so that's quite different from the first flight we had today. I mean, of course, the only unrealistic thing would be that I'm quite sure that they have changed crews in Frankfurt. For now, the second leg down to Lisbon, and then probably the crew would also take it back from Lisbon to Frankfurt. But yeah, never mind. At least we are doing it in the same aircraft, which is the realistic way to do it, and we are doing it at the right times. So that's quite nice in a way. It's quite cool. There's the Starlines A340 taking off. Yeah, so we can here see whenever they are in the sun, the engines look quite okay. It's only when they are in the shadow, which is really weird. Alright, so runway 18 coming straight up. Let's do the TO config. And then also predictive wind shear, weather, transponder, tilt above like that, and yeah, we should have the weather and the traffic. Let's put the airports over here. Did that work? Yeah, okay. Right, so no, apparently it did not. What's going on? Let's see. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. Perfect. Landing lights, strobes, and then taxi lights can come off. And so we are looking quite good. There's some aircraft coming in apparently on 07 left. And there it is. Condor 767. Beautiful. Yeah, there shouldn't be any traffic here. I think AI traffic barely uses runway 18, so that should be quite easy in that regard. And since there is no traffic and no incoming traffic as well, we are good to go. So let's remember the timer this time. There we go. Throttle to around 50%. Like that. Let's switch to rudder steering. And man flex, SRS and runway. Yeah, so speed's much higher than earlier this morning. Now we have a speed of 163. V3, that would be V2 I think. And still a lot of derate, flex temperature of 66. That's of course due to the rather long runway here at Frankfurt. Yeah, it goes very far down, in case you know it. So V1 rotates. It's a very slow rotation, but we're airborne. Gears coming up. There we are shooting out of snowy Frankfurt, and then very likely we have much nicer summer weather down at Lisbon. Alright, so climb power. Let's pitch down a bit so we can accelerate.
Meine Damen und Herren, da jederzeit unerwartet Turbulenzen auftreten können, sind Sie verpflichtet, sich anzuschnallen, sobald Sie Ihren Sitzplatz
It's a little bit bumpy, not too bad, but we can slightly feel it. Flaps up.
Ladies and gentlemen, as turbulence can occur unexpectedly at any time, you are required to have your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. This also applies to the seatbelt signs.
And now we are limited to 220 knots until we get to the first waypoint, which is not too far off, so that's not too much of a constraint here. Cool, okay, and then we will put on the autopilot. Yeah, initial climb of course, getting there already. Cruise will be 370, like that. Disarm the spoilers. And yeah, lights are set correctly. Transition altitude will be 5,000. And now we should slowly be heading into these clouds, although there's a bit of an open gap of the clouds right here. And now the 5,000 is coming up. So we will go standard, like that. And then after the next waypoint, we should be cleared to fly to 250 knots of speed. Yeah, there we are. Alrighty, looking good in every single regard. And on that note, enjoy the cruise, and then we will hopefully have a second nice landing of the day down at Lisbon. See you in a bit. Hello folks, here we are back in the flight deck, heading straight into Lisbon, and I'm not sure if you saw it during the cruise, but at some point during the cruise we had a wind of 142 knots, which is crazy. It's just a crazy wind, and I think I've never before had that kind of wind before during the cruise. More than 140 knots is really crazy. Anyways, now it's still 40 knots, coming straight from the west, and today we will be landing on runway 21, which means we are coming in from the north, which is quite fine. However, it's not really the scenic arrival. I know that landing the other way on runway 03, coming over the ocean and then over the bay, is the much nicer approach, at least from a scenery point of view. But yeah, today we will be coming in from the north, and the reason is weather is not as good as we have hoped for. Yeah, it's not too nice down there. In fact, we can have another look what the latest report says. So we have winds from 260 at 12 knots, gusting to 23. So gusting winds, that's always a little bit bumpy on arrival usually, and therefore I have also added 10 knots on top, so we will be a full config landing and final approach speed will be 143. Yeah, that's quite high, and we have set autoplex medium. We can also use reverse thrust down there, so it should be fine. Other than that, few clouds at 300 feet, broken at 600, so very low hanging clouds, 16 degrees. 1018 is the altimeter, and yeah, early on there was also some light rain, some drizzling, but apparently it's now gone from the METAR. So let's see how it works out. Traffic, let's see. There was one guy landing in front of us, but he's quite far away, and others are climbing out. So I think at least in theory it should work out rather well. And yeah, we can hear it in the background from time to time. It's a bit shaky. Right, what else? Yeah, almost passing through 6,000 feet. I think I can already go to local altimeters. 1018 like that. And maybe the same down here if it works. And there we are. Right, and now it's really only 20 miles to go. Yeah, it's a really bit of a pity that we can't see a lot today. As I've already mentioned, usually very nice and scenic approach. But today, yeah, rather cloudy. Right, what else? Yeah, I've pretty much said everything. We have received the gate, which is quite nice. Stand 116. And that should work out fine. It's a pretty short taxi when we are down there. So there's a high-speed exit, which we should easily make. And from there on, it's just going to be a very short taxi. Parking stand 116 being right at Terminal 1. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Yeah, and that's now a bit of a weird thing with the new weather, since in these kind of conditions I would rather expect like a thick and solid layer of clouds, but it's still kind of a broken cloud coverage here. Anyhow, okay. Yeah, just down here we can see usually we would fly around on the western side of the airport and then turn over the ocean and come back in. Of course being very scenic, but today it's more like a quick and straight in arrival coming from the north. Alright, we are at 4,000 feet, which is our Clyde slope interception altitude. We got there quite early actually. And yeah, then from Upcut on, we will be on the Clyde slope, so we should be able to capture the localizer any setting. We can see that the aircraft is slowing down to the green dot speed. And yeah, also here with the speed indication, we can see that it's a bit shaky and a bit turbulent out there. And now we can already see the Clyde slope coming in, so ideally we should capture the localizer before the Clyde slope. But let's go approach mode. There's the localizer coming in quite fast now, that's good. There's the localizer. And before we hit the Clyde slope, flap 1. And yeah, the only really annoying thing is the engine textures. I'm not sure what's going on here, but they There's definitely some bug in there. Right, okay, there was one aircraft departing out. There might of course be some aircraft lining up when we get there, in which case I will simply clear it out. That should be fine. And we are just sitting at the flap 2 speed, so I'm gonna set flap 2. I don't want to speed up now, since we're only 10 miles out. And then let me put the turn-offs on and taxi lights as well. And yeah, at least visibility is quite accurate, so we can't really see anything. Bit of a pity, but it is what it is. But then again, it shouldn't be as bad as we had it back in Gothenburg. So visibility on the ground is not too bad, so should be quite easy in that regard. Yeah, spoilers, arm. And now we are 7 miles out, so let's wait another few seconds and then we can go flap 3 and trap the gear. That's 23 knots of crosswind, so it's on. Also going to be quite a bit of grabbing towards the runway. Okay, flap 3, gears coming out, and yeah, we can see some ground down there, some terrain, and flaps full. Cool, and now we are only waiting to see some runway lights. I do hope the traffic will disappear, and that would be kind of cool. And yeah, there's some runway lights there, the puppies. Okay, that looks quite cool, to be honest. I think visibility now is displayed quite nicely. And yeah, runway is inside perfect, so I will take the aircraft.
1000.
My aircraft. That's a very, very cool arrival here, also heading over these hills. And look at this. That looks pretty cool. So let's hope we have a good second landing of the day. It's definitely more challenging than the one we had back in Frankfurt. I can see there's a bit traffic down there, but no traffic on the runway. Went a bit too low there. Yeah, no traffic on the runway, which is quite nice.
Above. 300. Minimum.
Continue. Touchdown zone is quite far down the runway.
100.
And we are really crabbing a lot. That's going to be fun.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard.
Retard. A little bit of rudder. And that's quite a nice lineup. Cool. Reverse. Very nice. And idle forward manual braking, and we can nicely make it on the high-speed exit. Cool. Very good. And that was quite a fun approach, to be very honest. It's always kind of cool when it's a little bit challenging and not only like perfect weather landings. And on that note, welcome to Lisbon. 2 hours and 44 minutes of flight time. And let's clean up a bit. No, I don't want to get too fast. Yeah, those come off. Those can come off. Strobes come off. APU goes on straight away since it's a short taxi only. And then transponder comes to standby. Predictive wind shear and weather radar go off. Cool. Not too bad. Let's have a look at the brake temperatures. Ah, very nice. That's easy. Okay, and let's set up gate 116. 116, there we are. Yeah, whatever. Port way, it's fine. Let's see where we are. Yeah, we take a left-hand turn now, and that's pretty much straight in. So it's even a bit of blue skies up there. Yeah, I think it's the first time we are using the Lisbon scenery here on the channel. Although it's a pretty cool scenery from MKStudios, pretty nice quality. And yeah, also as I've mentioned, pretty cool arrival routes. And in fact, since TAP Air Portugal does operate a rather large Airbus fleet, maybe we can do some flying across Europe. And I think for the A330s, they are mostly flying the Neos these days, or not the Neos. I think on the A330 it's called 800s and 900s. And then there's that runway, which I believe is not used in reality. Or is it? There's some aircraft down there. Is he lining up? Looks like it. I don't know, hard to tell. Is it a static aircraft or not? Can't see any lights on them. Maybe it's a parked one. Anyway, we will find out. Right, another Lufthansa A321. I think we might be parked quite close to this guy. Yeah, I think it's parked. Yeah, I don't think they use this runway at all these times, but I think it might even be unrelated to Corona, to COVID. I think they don't use it in general, but not too sure on that. Okay, and now it should be a right-hand turn, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah, so now the brakes got hot. I'm always wondering if that's quite accurate in the FSLabs, since like it doesn't really matter what kind of landing we do, brakes somehow always get too hot, which is a bit weird. But anyhow, spoilers are still armed. Right, that's a pretty fancy taxiway. I'm not sure if somebody messed up his job here, or if that has like a higher purpose, I don't know. Okay, 116, where are we here? 123. So I think it's gonna be right after the KLM. Yeah, there we can see the GSX vehicles.
We thank you for having chosen Lufthansa and Star Alliance and wish you a pleasant stay here and above all a safe onward journey. Take care, bye bye, and auf Wiedersehen.
Okay, APU goes on and taxi lights come off. Yes, here we are. little bit too early. Here we are. Cool, so setting the parking brake, killing the engines, and beacons come off, APU is running, seatbelts go off, fuel pumps come off, jetways are even working, sweet. Very cool. Block time 3 hours and 5 minutes. Brake fan is still on. Let's get, I think now we have to really request the GPU like that. And wheel chocks are set so we can release the parking brake. And then brake temperatures should start to fall now. So here we are, guys. Welcome once again to Lisbon. Now as there's no sun, these engines look really bad. Yeah, I will definitely see if that can be fixed somehow. And well, other than that, I hope you have enjoyed our 2 flights today. A little bit more action in one video. I hope you guys like it. Feel free to leave a comment as always. Take care and see you next time.